This is the Fitzy and Wippa with Kate Ritchie podcast.
It is Fitzy and Wippa with Kate Ritchie for your Wednesday podcast, talking Australia's sexiest suburbs. Now, this is not physically, is it? This is not...
Yeah,
Well, is it the people who live in the suburbs?
The sexiest men, I believe.
Or
And
is it
Balmain has had a win. Fitz.
Well, is it the way that the
thought
suburb looks? Like
No, it's a little bit more detailed than that. It's about the amount of orders from a particular website that focuses on adult enjoyment. It's about the areas that the most
Has to be
orders...
Campbelltown, Kate, doesn't it? Where you grew up.
I don't know what you are
they were
talking
rampant
about. I mean,
there.
Campbelltown's a very big suburb that has a lot of... It's a conglomerate of
You told
smaller
us off air there's
suburbs.
heaps of sickos around that will be monitoring that
What's
stuff.
weird, Fitz, was it changed. It used to be Campbelltown, and now it's the eastern suburbs of Sydney.
What a surprise.
So I don't know where the business moved.
Did it go to Caringbah for a while?
It's quite
Mrs.
strange.
Ritchie, you got another order?
Another order.
Name's not on the box, is it?
Oh, anyway, we're going to tell you the sexiest suburbs and what's going on in this country. That's all on the podcast.
Also, there's another podcast password coming up. Head to Instagram and give us the password to win.
The Fitzy and Wippa with Kate Ritchie podcast.
If you're thinking about changing occupation, here's a good idea. Why don't you become a marriage counsellor? Marriage counsellor services have gone through the roof
Crazy, isn't it?
since lockdown.
It is.
When you had to spend an extended period of time with your partner, you realise that, don't know about this one.
So with my group of friends that I, grew up with from a very young age, and all the wives get along together quite well, we've been really lucky, over the years that no one's really broken up. But
How's it look?
the last couple of years, there's been a lot of D&Ms.
Yeah.
Deep and meaningfuls with a lot of people,
There's a
and
lot of-
things have changed since the pandemic, I feel.
Don't know if this is going on in your world type chat.
It's a financial thing as well.
It's a financial pressure, but it's also through lockdown, the fact that you couldn't get out and share a beer with a mate at the pub and have that conversation. So there was really no outlet. People became sick of Zoom and phone conversations, so you didn't have a chance to vent anywhere and there was no release. That's what they're saying. So the amount of counselling services that have been required, people are struggling and relationships are failing. And they can't get into any kind of counselling service. Queensland apparently has the worst, where counsellors are understaffed and there's so many people that want to have a conversation. What do we do about our relationship? A friend of mine whose mum's a psychiatrist was saying that relationships work in 7-year periods. So I think what you're seeing and what I've got going on in my world as well is sort of the 14-year mark of couples being together. Because they were together for a couple of years, and they've been married for 10, and you're nudging that 14, and all of a sudden the kids are now nudging 10, and they're going, what does this really look like?
Well, do you know, there are... I must admit, when I look back at my relationship, there are stages, and then it's, with kids, that initial honeymoon period, then you have kids. When the kids get to certain ages, and now... Mate, those, and BJ's always saying, I
She's
think
bored.
she wants another baby.
Oh.
Because she goes, I love those days. I love when the kids, and we used to laugh, and they used to run around. Now they have attitudes,
The
and
hardest-
there's emotions involved.
The hardest thing too is when you were younger and you would take the kids and they were, say, 2 or 3 years old, and people would stop you and they would go, hey, just letting you know, this is the best time of your life.
Yeah.
This is the best time with your kids. And you'd go, give me a break, this is killing
It's
me.
the worst.
And then it just gets worse and worse.
Yeah.
I mean, I love them, don't get me wrong, but yes, it adds pressure. And I think too, people get to a point where in a relationship where they think, am I moving forward into this sort of next stage of my life? I think there's the contemplation around the 14-year mark where you go, what does the next 20 years look like? And am I going to get the most out of it being with you?
Yeah.
I mean, that's what I know Tom's wife Inga is asking right now.
Yeah, every day.
She's confused.
Every day.
She's just...
Oh, my God.
Tom, you put up Instagram stories and that from the weekend, and that there are times where you might go over and you'll have a joke with your wife, but there's times there where
can see
Inga
it.
is looking at you going,
Yeah.
Is this it?
Yeah.
Is this the future?
I've made a terrible mistake.
Do you know?
It would be really... Oh, man, that's the thing
13,
that
24, 10.
If you want to get involved with this, that's what scares me the most.
What if you were single again?
No, just people like that just fall out of love. And it's like, you're just not the person that I liked anymore. And it's, you know, when you have an argument with your partner and you go, it always freaks me out going, oh, is she, am I still the guy that she loves?
Do you know what I overheard Lisa saying the other day? We went away for 2 weeks by ourselves, right? I overheard her saying to a friend, yeah, I was kind of nervous before we went away because I thought to myself, what are we going to talk about?
Oh.
And then, followed it up with, as it turns out, he was really fun and we had a great time. Yeah, you should know that.
Well,
We've been married for 10
Lise, if you need some advice, I can sit down and have a chat to you because that's the same conversation I have in my head every morning.
Maybe you and Lisa should head off together. What am I doing married to this guy?
Just quickly on that as well, can you be a marriage counsellor? Can anyone be a marriage counsellor? Like, if you're in a successful marriage, can I just...
Put your hand up.
As a side hustle, maybe just say book in and I'll have a chat to you.
Who wants to see Fitzy the marriage counsellor?
Do you really need qualifications?
Not really, just life experience. And I love my footy. Give Ryan a call to sort out your marriage.
For great deals and cheeky getaways, whatif.com has just the place.
A winter hideaway is great, but bring on spring.
Jump on the What If app to book hotels, apartments, holiday rentals and more.
What If? It's Aussie for travel.
Can I ask a question, guys? Is anybody listening right now who's just maybe heading to the gym or coming back from the gym and they don't have any underpants on? It seems to be a trend. I had no idea that girls with their active wear don't wear a panty underneath, Kate.
Do you have to?
Do you have to?
Panties?
It's my least favourite word.
Because
there's
then,
another one.
Wouldn't you see, with a pair of tights on, don't you see, if you're wearing undies underneath, you would see the outline of that, wouldn't you?
You can, because they are very tight.
Yes.
But then it depends on the quality of your tights, because we've all been there at the gym where someone's tights are almost threadbare and they're doing squats and I almost feel as if I can see their bottom.
Oh, mate,
so if they didn't have knickers on and they were
see
doing...
the crutch in my PE nations.
Really? That'd be worn really thin as he does his Pilates reformer.
But I'll
His
never throw them
deadlifts.
out.
Oh, my God. Even if they tear, I ain't afraid. Women have gone on saying, no, you need to have some level of protection down there. They go into all sorts of details about what can happen if things get too sweaty, and that's why they then don't. So I didn't realise this was such an issue. But there's now two sides to it. We do, we don't.
Ugh.
What are you going to do, girls?
Why are you doing this story?
Do you know, can I tell you something?
I know, it's so creepy. Why
because
am I
it's
not
a
doing
news
this
story, Kate Ritchie. Can I tell you something? Last night, I had these shorts on, right? And they have a mesh liner. And this is the funniest joke that I have at home. And it gets a laugh.
Do you wear knickers under that?
No, because they're built-in underpants with mesh.
Yeah. But mesh is not an underpant, mate.
No, but
They're not very
it feels
supportive,
like
are
you're
they?
double layering if you wear underpants under the mesh that you have that are built-in shaped like an underpant.
Yeah.
Anyway...
The old mesh potato.
Sometimes... Well, this is where I'm going. Don't steal my joke. Anyway, what I do is when I'm sitting on the couch sometimes, the shorts come to the side and you can just see things through the mesh.
Right.
And Lisa will walk up...
Like Tommy's vest that he's wearing today.
And Lisa will walk up and go, have a look at you. And I'll go, yeah, I'm being domestic.
I would have gone with the mashed potatoes.
I'm being...
that's
I'll say it again
harassment
in case you
in
missed
your
it.
own home.
I'm being domestic. So you've heard it twice now, and I'm still just chasing that route.
Lisa is a very lucky lady.
Domestic.
I do agree with Kate. Kate should have done that break.
I think we're getting to it later in the show again.
Don't you need a photo? I could show you a photo
No,
that
it's
explain
so
the
fine.
joke further, but
to go have a little vomit.
Do, mate. That'll do.
Mesh.
That'll do, little pig.
The Fitzy and Wippa with Kate Ritchie podcast.
One of my favourite websites is Love Honey, where you can order all sorts of adult things. I know I've got a subscription and just a monthly order. You guys choose.
Honey.
How often are you shopping at Love Honey?
Once a week, mate. Win Wednesday, win the Love Honey, as I've always
What was the last thing you picked up at Love Honey?
this T-shirt. And it hasn't worked. So, where are most of the purchases being sent? That is how they've come up with the sexiest suburbs. You would assume, right, at number one is coming as the Melbourne CBD. you would just assume there's more people there, and that's why the orders are there. Nobody is walking around in the city of Melbourne in a puffer jacket and thermal pants going, "Ooh, this is sexy."
If they took these orders during COVID, there wasn't a lot of going on in the seafood. There wasn't a lot of interpersonal.
No, we can't get out, so send them in.
That industry would have thrived during the pandemic, wouldn't it? Deliveries. But see, could you get deliveries out? That's the other thing.
Well, you'd have to be able to. Bondi came in at number 2. Now, that surprised me because, well, you've got a whole lot of backpackers. Right, so then you only take the essentials when you backpack. Yeah. Maybe I've underestimated how good these things are.
I thought you were hooking up with everyone around Bondi if you live there. But you don't need anything for yourself at home,
Isn't
do you?
that the idea?
Or are there a lot of people that live in Bondi, can't pick up and go, I'll have to go home?
You know what? Why don't I head down the street? It's too expensive to park. I'll just stay here. What can I do? Love, honey. What else have we got in New South Wales? Manly comes in at number 8. You used to live there, MDG. Was that a vibrating suburb?
Whoa, that's an interesting way to describe
bit of a buzz
the beaches.
around town.
That's not bad either. It's very much like Bondi, a lot of backpackers. Yeah. So clearly the backpackers are...
Are people going to the beach and seeing all these great bodies and then going home and going, "Oh, that was a good look"?
Well, there's a lot of retirees in Manly as well, isn't there? Older people, sort of hippie kind of, isn't there?
Further up the beaches. Yeah, the further up you go, the more leafy the beaches
Are you suggesting the senior citizens of the Manly Northern Beaches area are really buzzing?
It's the Woodstock era, mate. They went hard and they're still going hard.
We're not going. We're not going out. We're ordering in.
The issue is that they're not going hard.
Love, honey, guys. Get to that.
Find other ways around. Congratulations.
The Fitzy and Wippa with Kate Ritchie podcast.
I was so excited when I saw this story floating around yesterday. And women, if you're out there and you agree with me, and this is something you have discussed with your friends, I would really love to hear from you. Maybe what your version of it might be. 13 24 10.
What are we doing wrong?
No, not you. It's actually not anything to do with you guys, because thankfully, if we got to live this way, we wouldn't have to deal with you.
Okay, so we are doing something wrong that's pushed you to do something that
it's certainly not something. It's a lot of things that become some kind of conglomerate.
Not cultured enough, I'd suggest, being around you.
Is it?
Not cultured. Did you see this? And I feel, the only thing I feel sad about is that this is something I've discussed with my friends over the years that we would like to do at some point.
Okay.
And thankfully for these 7 women in China, they've done it and they are living the dream.
What is it?
There are 7 women in China who have decided to pool their funds. So I don't know if they've been renting elsewhere and they're going to put all that money somewhere, or they've sold off the houses that they've grown up in, or have, maybe even bought their dream home with their partner and decided this is not for me. They have bought one house in the countryside, outside about an hour outside the city in China somewhere. Yeah. Doesn't really matter where it is. Just imagine this: green fields.
Oh yeah.
Like
I'm in.
Say that. Green fields. It's like a big house.
Rolling hills.
The Southern Highlands.
Maybe just think Southern Highlands,
like your farm,
or the Byron hinterland, or just anywhere
green and leafy.
I can picture it.
You'd like
now.
to throw your life away. Maybe lemon trees.
Could be a trout farm.
Maybe if you're into trout.
Yeah, beautiful.
Rosemary growing in the garden.
Oh my gosh.
And you know what? Snakes are fine because you're living with nature. Yeah. So these women have all decided that this is the way they're going to live from now on. They are living together.
Well, they all came together. They're all
7 of them.
House.
They've been childhood friends, and they've realised they don't need to wait 30 years to live out their dream. They are going to do it now. Now, unfortunately, the video does show some men in the house, and I'm not sure about children. Maybe they are staff, but they go to bed there. Yeah. They wake up in the morning. They stare at the green fields when they wake up. There are no issues in their life. All of them have
because they're just girls.
They all have an incredible skill to offer the house. Yeah. So one of them is really great at Chinese medicine.
Awesome.
Tick. One's a really good cook.
Yeah.
One plays a musical instrument.
One's a masseuse.
One is a masseuse.
How sick would you get of that instrument, though? I'm sorry. Like if...
Daphne's on the violin again.
Yeah, well, that's the thing, If Wilhelmina gets out the accordion again, here we go.
Here we go. I think I'll go and pick a lemon.
Oh, that's beautiful.
I'll go and play with the snakes. Hey, that's a great idea,
Kate. Once again.
That's a really good idea for about an hour.
No, oh my goodness. My girlfriends and I, this is what we used to sit down and chat about. You know
Just
what we should...
think
No,
about
you
it.
stay out of it for a second. What we would do, maybe over a cup of tea on a Saturday afternoon and say, you know what we should do? Because it was always when we were talking about issues that we couldn't solve in our lives, it was always like the punchline or the end of the conversation would end with us saying, you know what we should do? Sell our houses, pull the money, buy a big house, get rid of all of these people that cause problems in our life. All women living together, having babies, bring a man in every now and then or whatever, what tickles your fancy or whatever, and then get rid of send them home.
The problem is you're attracted to drama. Right? So there would be nobody...
I dare you to go down this line.
There'd be nobody to riff with. There'd be nobody to pick on. You couldn't be who you really wanted to be, especially on a juice cleanse.
No, there wouldn't.
So you wouldn't have anybody to attack because you couldn't.
I disagree.
You'd end up yelling at the dog, and the next thing you know, you'd be at the pub trying to find a guy to yell at.
Oh, no, I disagree, because after a week...
This is the reason. See how the way he's speaking? This is the way I need to buy a house in the hinterland.
But see, you know what? It's like we had one of your beautiful friends, Emily Simons, in here the other day, and you said as soon as she left the studio, you said, God, I can only have an hour of her or two of her.
See what I mean? Playing with the snakes in the field again, are you, Kate?
After 1 week, Kate, you would be clawing at the walls to get out
Trying
of there.
Trying to tame a taipan.
The Fitzy and Wippa with Kate Ritchie podcast. Win Kate Ritchie's car.
You got a fast car. It's Nova's Impress Her for Kate Ritchie's Impressor.
Trent Nicoli, managing editor for drive.com.au, is test-driven this car.
I've got to be honest with you guys, it actually drives really well.
You looked quite good in the sunglasses that were in my console as well.
That does impress me much.
So we got a 50-inch TV, 50-cent tickets, $5,000, trip for two to Hamilton Island. There's going to be a tour to Whitehaven Beach with that as well. What's that? Taylor Swift tickets.
Bang.
What's that? Pink tickets.
Wow.
We've got a Wippa barbecue now. On Kate's request.
Okay,
this
what
is
have we
Kate's
got?
request. You get a picnic set. That includes an umbrella, an esky, and a picnic rug. So
I love that.
How many picnics have you gone to in this car?
In the car,
Yeah.
so many.
You
And you
love
know
a
what
picnic.
it's also good for? On a rainy day, eating fish and chips
The
by
car
the
is.
beach because you can't get out, but you just sit in the front seat and you watch the crazy ocean out there crashing on the rocks.
Do you know what it's good for too?
It's wonderful for every part of your life.
Or if you're watching your boyfriend train for like a triathlon and he's running on the beach or the sand or swimming.
Is it good for that?
Yeah, you could pull up in the car park.
I should try that. You know what I'm offended by is that a few people have been coming up to me saying, how do I win the car? I said, oh, well, you you have to impress me and you've got to, enter via the Nova Player app. And they say to me, well, I don't really want the car, I just want the Taylor Swift ticket.
Now, hang on a minute. That's not the case with Nev in Artarmon. Nev, you need to impress Kate. What are you going to do?
Well, I'm just going to lay it out straight for you, Kate. I'm in bad need of a quality car like your all impressor. I just got my car serviced and I was told that there's a good few oil leaks. The main seal is gone and a couple of the other gaskets on the car. So it's an engine pull to get it fixed up and it's going to be about $6,000 to $7,000.
Oh.
So when are you going to impress us, Nev?
Well, I'll do whatever, mate. I can throw a, go around with a lawnmower and cut Kate's grass and trim our hedges if she likes.
Cut my grass.
Jeez, Nev, we're going to have to move on from you.
Right.
No,
But he does need a car. That's fair enough. I want to hear these stories as well.
Let's go to Callum now in Mittagong. How are you going to impress Kate, Callum?
Good morning, guys. How are you?
Good.
Another accent.
Oh, we got the Irish.
Here we go, Callum.
Yeah, it's all happening. Look, I'd love to get the car, but I'm also a massive Swiftie, so I thought I'd sing my favourite Taylor song for you.
Oh, you going to do that?
Here we go.
Are you going to do Taylor Swift for us now?
Yeah, I'll sing right now.
Okay,
but do you want me to? Yeah.
Go,
So
Cal.
you belong with me. Are you ready?
Yeah, let's do it.
She wears short skirts, I wear t-shirts. She's here captain and I'm on the bleachers, looking for the day that you wake up and find that what you're looking for has been here the whole time. If you can see that I'm the one who understands you, been there all along, so why can't you see?
Wow.
You belong with me.
Wow. Colin Fasnich.
He actually has a really lovely voice, and that accent really adds to
Like a
it.
sea shanty.
Callum Fasnich. Thanks, mate.
That was awesome. Eleanor's giving us a call. Hi, Eleanor.
Hello. Hi.
All right.
I'm actually so desperate for this car for my daughter. She just got her license last week. Kate, we would just be so honoured to have your car. She's a beautiful girl. She's in year 11. She studies really hard. She's been working part-time at Woolworths and she babysits heaps of kids to earn money and kids with special needs. And she's just a beautiful girl.
Where's the impressive stuff?
Oh, wait
That's
up.
impressive. That's a
really impressive.
There are lots of kids out there who won't get up off their backsides and work for themselves. This young girl is, 16, 17, and out there doing it.
I want an act.
Yeah. She can do everything. She can't sing, but she can't tell jokes either. But
I
she's
hope she's not
gorgeous
got an Irish accent.
Kate.
Do you know what? I could see, Kate, it would be amazing. A young lady who has just got her L's or something, getting Kate Ritchie's car would be pretty special.
Yeah, they probably don't know who Kate Ritchie is. She's the lady from the QV ads or something.
Of course they do.
Louise in Claremont Meadows, how are you going to impress Kate?
I'd love to impress Kate and also just have the bragging rights to say that I own Kate Ritchie's car. But my bragging rights, just a personal bragging right, the first time I'd ever been on any aeroplane in the entirety of my life, I went up in a light plane, 14,000 feet, and I jumped out of it with that parachute strapped to my back and skydived. It was the best, amazing feeling I have ever done in my whole entire life.
I'd say that's
Anti-bucket list for me. But do you know
me
what?
too.
First time in a plane, though, Kate. That's the part that catches me there.
I'm going to put 2 of the 4 in if that's
wow.
okay.
Okay, here we go. Can we get a drum roll for this? This is quite
What are you
large.
thinking, Kate?
Nev, Callum, Eleanor and Louise.
Well, I think Nev has to go in. He desperately needs a car.
Well done, Nev. You're in,
Thank
Nev.
you, thank you.
And
Okay.
Eleanor's daughter sounds like the perfect 17-year-old we all hope for, so she's in as well.
Eleanor and Nev. Can I just... Kate, Callum's Taylor Swift song.
Well, you put him in.
Can I put him in, Tom?
Yeah.
Callum, you're in as well. Callum.
Well, now I'm feeling bad for Louise. Louise, I'm going to put you in.
The skydiving.
Yes. Louise, you're in. I've taken over.
You hate skydiving.
You are all in the running for the car, the tickets, everything. Hamilton Island, and we'll keep
The picnic set. Don't forget the picnic set.
and the picnic set. We'll keep adding to those prizes as well that'll go into the car. Get on the standby list all day with Jamie Rowe after 9 o'clock. But your chance to still impress her, go to the Nova Player app if you've got something.
The Fitzy and Wippa with Kate Ritchie podcast.
What are the
Get straight into it
chances?
because I've got $100 to spend at the Iconic Plus. We've got a bottle of Double Chin Gin thanks to Australian Distilling Co. to give away as well.
Josh is in the gong. Joshy, let's rip into it. What are the chances, buddy?
How you going, guys?
Yeah, strong.
Very good. So I went on a date with my then girlfriend, now wife, when I was about 19, 20 years old.
Yeah.
I dropped her home after the date, and I got into the street, and I thought, this looks really familiar. And she pointed to the house, and I went, that looks really familiar. Turns out she lived next door to my grandmother. She was a year older than me. I got her car seat when she grew out of it. We played as kids. We had no idea we knew each other until 20 years later.
That's amazing.
What are the
Did
chances?
you feel pressure to marry her then because it was the universe aligning?
I agree.
Not quite. It did feel very serendipitous, but yeah, we've been married for 5 years, together 10 years, and we've got 2 beautiful kids.
That is
You
a
always
beautiful
think
story.
to yourself, did I ever meet my partner?
In a
You know,
previous life.
Well, not in a previous life.
I know what you mean, but look at like that
when
photo.
we were younger.
Remember that photo of Meghan Markle out the front of Buckingham Palace?
Yeah.
And she's about 9 years old with the giant castle in the background.
Well, it's also, imagine if you had the superpower of, when you were younger, I don't know, the person that you were eventually going to marry and fall in love with just stood out. There was a glow coming
Yeah,
off them.
yeah.
So, like, in your local area, you'd just be like, why is it?
Yeah.
Oh, my gosh, there's that glow again.
Yeah.
What's that girl? I've never met her in my life.
Yeah.
And as you get older, you fall in love,
Oh,
Kate.
my God.
That would be an amazing superpower.
We love love
I'm
here.
watching this girl on a TV show and she's a young actress and wonder if I get to work with her and maybe she becomes my second wife one day.
What are the chances?
Could happen.
I
You never
don't even
know,
know
Kate.
what to say.
Hello.
Chris in Erskine Park. What are the chances? What do you got for us, Chris?
Morning, guys. As soon as I heard your segment, I knew I had to share this one. So, about 2.5 years ago, I was driving down to Adelaide, and I was in the middle of nowhere, 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock at night. I'm humming along. Out of nowhere, this kangaroo jumps in front of me.
Oh, dangerous.
I hit it, completely writes off my car, and I'm sat there waiting for a tow truck. I called the police, and because I had no reception, and they're sending out a truck, so it'll be 3 or 4 hours. And I'm standing out here in the middle of nowhere, in the middle of the night, and this car, I can see its headlights coming up to me, and it slows right down, and it's a red Hilux, and this dude sort of looks at me through his window and then keeps driving and then stops up the road. And I'm like, okay, I've seen Wolf Creek too many times. This is it. I'm gone. Yeah. He hooks back around and he sort of pulls over and he pulls his window down and he says to me, first thing he says is, "Oh, nice bike." And I'm like, what? Because I got my bike attached to the back of my car. Yeah. And I'm like, okay, yeah, cool. And he's like, are you all good? And I'm like, yeah, man, no worries. Police are on their way. He's like, are you alone? And I'm like, no, I've got friends in the car. And I'm like, it was just weird. Red flags, strange questions. Yeah. Anyway, he drives away, and fast forward about 6 months later, I get to Adelaide, and I'm working in a cash converter's shop, and this dude comes walking up to me, and he goes, "Oh, I'm looking for a flashlight." And I'm like, "Yeah, no worries, man. I'll come open the cabinet." So I'm showing him all these flashlights, and I say to him, "What do you need a flashlight for, man?" And he goes, "Oh, about 6 months ago, I was driving along in the middle of nowhere, and there was this dude on the side of the road, and I couldn't offer any help. He was in an accident." And I was like, "Oh, true. Where were you?" And he's like, "Oh, I was up in the middle of nowhere, like 60 k's out of hay." And I was like, "No, it clicked." I was like, "What? 60 k's out of hay 6 months ago?" I was like, "What happened to the person?" And he's like, "Oh, he just hit a kangaroo." And I'm like, "Do you drive a red Hilux?" And he's like, "Yeah, I do." And I'm like, "No way. Show me." And we walked outside, and it was the same guy in the red Hilux.
What are the chances?
That's quite a good... I thought you were going to tell me you saw him on the news or something.
It was John Bunting and Robert Wagner from Snowtown.
Heaps of info in that, and the detail was crucial. Chris, long story, great punchline.
That's what we need. Irene from Green Valley. Irene, you there?
I am. Good morning. How are you?
Yeah, good.
Hello,
what are the
Irene.
chances that you can win this morning?
Oh, okay. Well, when I was little, my parents decided to come to Australia, and so we've packed up, ready to go. And obviously my husband now, his family were on a holiday, and we were on the same flight, same aeroplane, and we have a bit of a running joke that we met each other when we were little and knew that we were meant to be together. And here we are, celebrating 10 years in a few months.
What are the chances?
But you didn't keep in touch since the plane flight, did you? That was something that happened later.
We didn't know each other at all. When we had come to Australia, we had friends that we sort of met, and so we had no idea we were on the same flight until we got married, and we were discussing, "Oh, when did you come to Australia?" And
mutual friends, eh?
And here we are now. So.
That's beautiful.
That's a beautiful story. This is a tough one today, Kate.
Nice
You've
bike.
got a really tough decision.
Nice bike.
Tough decision because we've got a $100 Iconic voucher, and you love Iconic. Your brand new outfit there. Oh, that jacket looks good. I'll buy that. Bye.
I mean, I really like Chris's story, but then Josh, I mean, having his wife,
that's a good story, isn't it?
He inherited her baby seat. I think he has to be the winner today.
Joshy!
Josh!
Big win for the gong. Congratulations, buddy.
Fitzy and Wippa with Kate Ritchie.
Hey, that's the secret. Podcast password.
If you want to get your hands on stacks of great prizes, just head over to our Instagram stories at Fitzy Wippa Kate and enter this password. Today's password is...
retire.
The Fitzy and Wippa with Kate Ritchie podcast.
Taylor Swift, guys. I know MDG has been covering this in the news this morning, but turns out she's quite a generous woman. She's made a lot of cash off her Eras tour all over America.
Yes.
I think they are wrapping that up, and she has donated or gifted or bonused the drivers who have, of course, transported her concert sets from town to town and city to city. They're getting about $100,000 each. There are about 50 truckers to get all of the stuff from city to city, and she's spending $5-6 million on giving them a bit of a bonus.
Well, she looks after her team.
I think that's important, isn't it?
Because we were asked, Kate, this was a few years ago at the end of her world tour, her last world tour. Australia was, I think, her last destination, and she asked, I think Gadinsky was around then, she asked Gadinsky, I want you to look after all of my crew.
Yeah.
I will do a performance for anyone if you can look after your crew. And Gadinsky came to Nova and said, if you can we'll give you a Nova Red Room. If you can we hired out Hamilton Island.
It was massive.
Oh, that's right. I never got to go to that. They were the hottest tickets in town.
And then when we had finished interviewing her, she looked at Fitzy and I and said, here's a gold Rolex and 100,000. Thanks so much for the interview.
Can you imagine truck drivers all over the country like trying desperately to get the gig to drive her sets overnight when she comes to Australia if they know they can take...
She'll probably end up dating one of them.
I don't know about that. Why does it have to go there?
Doesn't have to.
It's just the exchange of money and patting somebody on the back saying, job well done, thanks for your support. Now, did you see this story about Lizzo?
Something to do with a strip club?
Well, yes. Apparently there's been some things that have gone on in a strip club, and this is, allegedly... Let me start by saying that. But she's, massive pop star. She's touted herself as a champion of body positivity and all of that, inclusivity and everything. But she's being sued by 3 of her former backup dancers for what they describe as weight shaming, racial discrimination, and creating a hostile work environment.
Hang on.
Yeah, they are. They're alleging sexual harassment, religious and racial harassment, false imprisonment.
What?
And interference with prospective economic advantage. And there are more. I think there are some...
What's the other stuff?
And the and more.
Yeah.
Well, look, I don't know. I think one of the incidences...
involve what?
May have happened at a nightclub, and I'm kind of making this up and kind of reading it. Lizzo pressured one of her dancers to touch a nude dancer at a strip club party in Amsterdam.
Oh, no.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because there was a claim to do with it. There was something about a banana also, I read, in the strip club. I don't know.
Oh, hang on. Oh,
I don't know why.
Yeah, well, it's a high source of potassium.
Performers
get your cards if you're dancing.
No, that would be for energy because they would have a show, I would say, the next night.
Things of a very sexual nature.
It's not often you get to a strip club and there's a beautiful fruit bowl there and they go, oh, would you like a pear, would you like an apple?
No, I think it's
grab a banana.
Bring your own props. Anyway, moving on to Gwyneth Paltrow. This is the celebrity we were talking about. You do have the opportunity to stay in her guest house.
Wow.
It's
where?
on Airbnb. They're doing it for one night in September and it launches at a particular time on a particular day, and I think it's just first in, best dressed. So of course you go there and you are going to be immersed in the ultimate goop retreat.
I don't think so. Someone like Tom wouldn't, with your rating on Airbnb, Tom, and what you've left in some of your apartments. There's no way you'd get in with that, would you?
They'd have to do a very strict check because not only is this Gwyneth's property, but she's also claiming that she will be there to welcome you.
So when you go down for breakfast in the morning, there's Gwyneth lighting one of her candles.
What?
I don't know if she's going to stay there. I would imagine you stay at the guest house. Gwyneth goes away, very far away for the weekend, and there is a security team.
She wants to be around.
Yeah, but she might be in the main house, and then there's another wing, no doubt. Like she might be in the east wing. The guest goes there at the end of the property.
It's a guest house, so it's separate from the house.
Kate, my mates and I hired an Airbnb once near a music festival, and it was quite cheap, and it was at a beautiful view, and I thought, this is awesome. The guy was there who owned it, and when we rocked up, we were like, he said, do you want a bit of a tour of the place? I said, we'd love one, thank you so much. Did the tour, this is awesome, and then at the end of the tour, we're sitting in the lounge room, and we're going, mate, thank you so much, that was awesome. And he goes, yeah, no worries. Then he goes to the fridge and gets a drink. And I said, no, honestly, thank you so much, mate. That was great. He's going, yeah, anytime, mate, anytime. So what are you guys up to today? It was, his girlfriend walked out from one of the rooms and he goes, oh, this is my girlfriend. So we'll be staying in this room. You guys are over in that room.
Oh, new best friends.
Share house, and that's why it was cheap.
You need to read the fine print.
I think Gwyneth arrived. And you went, hang on a minute. This is a terrible offering.
All right, Gwyneth. Thanks for that. That's awesome.
Off you go.
Take
Gwyneth.
a clean skin. Off you go.
Off you go, love. Have a good one. See you at the festival.
You're listening to the Fitzy and Wippa with Kate Ritchie podcast.
Blow-ups in the Fitzgerald house. And I'm going to bring back Thrifty Fitzy here. The thing is, it's not me, it's my wife.
Oh, Mrs. Fitzy.
So Huey was quite upset yesterday, Kate. He went to the bathroom and he exited from the bathroom and he got quite angry with his mother and said, I'm sick of this. I'm so sick of this.
Oh, no.
Because have a look, Mum. This soap is not lathering up. What are you doing to this soap? And it's been like this for weeks and I'm sick of it. And I said, you know what? I agree. I said, yeah, we go to the soap. We're using it. I love to lather up my hands
Soap
and wash my hands.
Soap. Having a cake of soap is really old school as well.
And you know
A lot
what?
of people have the pump.
Everyone does this. It is a pump bottle, Kate, and guess what? It's an Aesop pump bottle from 3 years ago.
It's a refill.
The label is old.
Palmolive.
Right, and then BJ reveals to the family that she's been buying hand wash from the $2 shop in bulk and then watering it down.
Watering it down as well.
I reward it.
What are you talking about?
I think you'll find 9 out of 10 Aesops you use a refill with cheap.
Oh, yeah, I understand that.
Watering down's another step.
Not watering down
That
cheap
is-
hand wash.
And trying to trick you. That's the worst thing. There
And
hasn't
buying
been a
it-
level of honesty around this.
And buying in bulk. She's winning on every level there. Well
It's
done,
like,
BJ.
You know what?
Well
I work so hard to provide for this family, and I want lather in my hands. I want to see the lather.
He's angry.
I'm more than happy to pay a few extra for a bit of Dove. Go get some Dove.
Dove's lovely.
Yeah, but the other one is quite expensive.
Oh, Aesop.
Yes.
Yeah, I know. But, geez, it smells nice, and you
It
get those...
is. Do you have that? There is a
Those-
hand wash that has like an
sandalwood?
exfoliation in it.
Yeah, I love the
in the hand.
exfoliation. It feels like you're washing your hands with sandpaper.
Are you still the QV girl?
No, the QV girl.
Yeah.
No, I'm no longer an ambassador for them, but I do think it is a great product,
They're
and I
mad
do still use the product.
They're mad if they don't get you back on board.
Oh, I mean, I know. Give them a call.
Yeah,
Do you know
I
what,
will.
it's
I'll
your
call them
parents.
today.
I think there's something that sticks out in everybody's minds. Have you got one when you're...
Oh,
Did Heather?
Actually, I do, because my mum, we didn't have designer clothes or anything like that. I think maybe I brought home some 26 red T-shirts or something from the set once upon a time, and
That's
my
cool.
brother couldn't wait to get his hands on them. But my sister had a Stussy T-shirt, and she grew out
It's
of
back,
it.
Stussy.
Yeah,
It's back.
And then she bought my sister maybe a cheaper version of the tartan, kind of like a happy pant. Like
no.
But they were, some B grade label,
Generic
and
brand.
that's fine. Something that is
Target.
affordable within the house.
Target happy
And
pants.
So no one fit the Stussy T-shirt. So Mum took the Stussy label off the T-shirt and sewed it onto the
No
tartan
way.
pants, so they look designer.
Yes! Heather!
But not
That is amazing.
Not at Mum. I mean, Mum couldn't care less whether my sister was wearing Stussy or not, but she did. So it was at her request.
Can we get a Robert in Regent's Park? How were your parent tight asses, Robert?
Hey guys, so your clad glue or glue stick back in the day?
Yes.
Instead of that, the saying is rice is life. So they used to smash up cooked rice,
Yeah.
and that's how we stuck our stuff down.
So,
I missed all of that.
So you'd steam rice or cook rice at home,
That's correct, Kate.
smash it up, and because rice gets a bit sticky, maybe add a bit of water to it, and it does have the consistency of clag.
That's the one.
Oh, you actually use the rice
not
as
the
clag.
smell, but yeah.
Oh my God, that's tight bum stuff.
So, I mean, sushi restaurants could be used for clag glue as well, I
don't.
suppose.
Thanks, Robert. Chrissy in Abbotsford, hello.
Hi.
Give it
First
to
of
us.
all, best radio station in Sydney.
Oh, best thing you've said all day,
That's
Chrissy.
Chrissy Swan. Thank you very much, Chrissy.
My father drove from San Francisco to Los Angeles with about 7 of us in the car. We finally stopped at a petrol station, 100-degree heat, and he wouldn't get us to drink. He told us to drink from the tap.
Amazing. Amazing.
And
It's like
tap
at a
was too-
hotel.
It was actually too hot to drink.
On a holiday, you could never use the minibar on a holiday,
Not
could
by-
you?
No.
Do you know what?
never use the
It
minibar.
is. I mean, Dave Thornton's got a very funny joke that if you go to a petrol station, it costs more for a litre of water than it does for a litre of fuel.
Mm-hmm. Spot on. Drew, hello.
G'day, mate. How you going?
Tight bum parents, give it to us.
Yeah. When I was a kid, my mum would take me to the market and buy me a pair of Nicks instead of buying me a pair of Nikes. And then in the winter, she'd make me wear shorts to school because she refused to keep buying me new pairs of trousers because I kept ripping holes in the knees.
Yeah.
So I was the only kid in school wearing shorts in the winter.
Oh, it sounds like you're from the UK too. It'd be a bit chilly there.
Where we grew up, there was Fox tracksuits, right? And they had these matchstick design on them, and every kid wore these Fox tracksuits. And I remember Mum came home from Ranella Markets one day, and she said, "I got you a tracksuit," and I was like, "Oh my gosh, this is the greatest day of my life!" And it was the knockoff brand. It was called Fire and Wind. And I was like,
did it have sticks
Mum,
on it?
You don't understand. If I wear that to school, I'm a dead man.
What about the T-shirts that your mum bought? The Billabong T-shirts.
Yeah, so Mum was working in the dental surgery, Kate, and a guy came around and said, "I've got some Billabong T-shirts to sell. They're for cheap. If you buy more in bulk, you get them for cheaper." So Mum goes, "My son loves surfing. Okay, I'll buy 7 of them. Get them home." I open them up and they're Billabong T-shirts. The funny thing is, my cousin Shane goes, "I'll have them."
Fitzy and Wippa with Kate Ritchie is a Nova podcast. For more great comedy shows like this, head to novapodcast.com.au.